And I want to bring in Trayvon Martin's family attorney, Benjamin Crump, and criminal defense attorney Janet Johnson. And Ben, let me start with you. I'm just thinking, in the Trayvon Martin case, he quickly became a first name across the country, right? The president, said if I had a son, he would look like Trayvon. And yet now, frankly, as Martin said, Jordan Davis gets referred to as the black teenager shot by the white man. And I'm wondering if you see parallels between these cases. I mean, part of the reason Trayvon became a household name was people like you who went out and told his story and made sure people knew about him. Do you think that Jordan Davis should also be known like that?
I think all our children should have value and respect because their lives matter. And remember, Aaron, at the beginning, nobody was saying Trayvon as a household name. In fact, it was easily going to be swept under the rug if it wasn't young people who said, I could be like Trayvon. And what's so ironic is Jordan Davis took a photograph with him in a hoodie to show support for Trayvon. No way he could have imagined, months later that he would be killed and his killer would say, stand your ground. And it's just so tragic on so many levels.
And Janet, let me ask you, a lot of this case in terms of the stand your ground defense rests on this one issue, which is why Michael Dunn would have shot Jordan Davis and shot so many times. And as you heard the prosecution say, every time you had to put 6 pounds of pressure on that trigger in order for the bullets, of which there were, they were saying today, 10. How can that be self-defense?
Well, that may be answered tomorrow. The defense is proposing to put on an expert in acute stress disorder. And I think that expert might address that when you're under stress, adrenaline might take over and they might shoot more times than are necessary to what we would think. That may or may not come in tomorrow because Angela LaCorey is objecting to that witness. She's actually deposing him tonight, and the judge will decide tomorrow whether that comes in. That could be a crucial piece of information that the jury is going to be asking for an answer to. Why did he shoot so many times? Right.
And Ben, what's your take on that question? Because, I mean, do you in your mind think that there's any way that the jury here could exonerate Michael Dunn? I mean, what do you think? Is it possible, Ben?
Well, we thought in Trayvon's case that it was clear-cut, and we certainly think this is even more clear-cut because there are 3 live witnesses left. The troubling thing is, just like the kill of Trayvon Martin, the kill of Jordan Davis, they put themselves in harm's way. And, Trayvon killer could have stayed in the car and drove away. Jordan Davis's killer could have stayed in the car and drove away. And that's the tragedy of it, because if you reverse these roles and you have Trayvon kill his killer and you have Jordan kill his killer, nobody will be saying whether it was first-degree murder or not. And that's the most troubling thing as an officer of the court, to look at these double standards.
The double standards because of race.
Well, certainly nobody can deny the fact of race in these cases.
Janet, let me ask you, because when it comes down to what's going to happen here to Mr. Dunn, the defense called a character witness for him, his son named Chris, and he told the jury his father was in a good mood at his wedding, which was just before the shooting. And I want to play what he said, though, when he was cross-examined, because this is something that if he is exonerated, it's going to rest upon these personal character, these people vouching for his personal character. And here's how the exchange went.
How many times had you seen your father, Michael Dunn, in the last 15 years prior to your wedding?
3 times.
3 times total?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is it fair to say you didn't know your father very well prior to having him at your wedding?
Yes, it is.
So, Janet, if that's who they're going to as a character witness, yes, it's his son, but he said it's fair to say I didn't know my father very well. I'd seen him 3 times in 15 years. Is that if that's the best they have, are you worried?
Well, and his ex-wife as well. And, she wasn't giving a stellar recommendation. I think that's one of the reasons Dunn has to testify, because the jury's going to think this is bad character that came out as well. What kind of dad doesn't see his son in 8 years? And I think he's going to have to take the stand tomorrow and explain why he didn't tell anyone that he saw the gun. I think he is going to have to testify, which is a very difficult thing for a defense attorney to sit through, having his client on the stand.
All right. Well, thanks very much to both of you.